When I worked at Procter & Gamble, one of the most interesting things about my job was actually understanding how a product, let's say a bottle of dishwashing detergent. I worked on the Dawn brand for a number of years.
Okay.
How that bottle of dish soap actually got to the shelf.
Right.
And it's
more interesting than you may think. Actually.
It is more interesting because it's you're roaming through the aisles of a supermarket and you see all of these bottles and all of these packages and whatever, and they're just kind of there.
Right.
But knowing the story behind how they were created and how they got there is actually quite cool. A bottle of Dawn dishwashing detergent, or if you're in the U.S., Fairy is the brand over there.
Or in the UK.
In the UK or Europe. Thank you. Goes through this very long and complex process just to be created, and then another process to actually get it from the factory to
the shelf.
Right. Walmart or Target or Sam's Club or Costco or whatever. And, so there's actually a plant in the U.S., there's a plant in Kansas City where all of these raw materials come into.
Okay.
And they're all combined in these really big vats. And, bottles are actually, start off as little chunks of plastic and then they're blown up into a mold into the actual bottle.
Okay.
And then they're filled and they're capped and, they're inspected and then they're loaded onto pallets.
And that all happens at one place?
And that all happens at one place, this plant in Kansas City. From there, that's the value creation process, okay? You have a bottle of Dawn to sell. Okay? The next step of the process is those pallets are wrapped up. They're taken to a loading dock. They're put on a truck, and that truck goes from the factory to, let's say we're selling to Walmart. That truck will take that pallet to Walmart's distribution center, drop it off. They have a big place, in places like Indianapolis, where lots of trucks will come in to drop a bunch of stuff off, and then they'll actually destroy that pallet. They'll take the product off. They'll put it onto their own trucks. Those trucks will go into all of the Walmart, hundreds of Walmart stores all over the world, or all over the U.S. in this case. They will take the pallet, put it into the store in the back room. They'll destroy that pallet, take the actual product, wheel it out to the shelf, and they'll put it up on the shelf, and then it's ready to buy. Okay? Huge, big, long process.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, this is a concept called value stream. Okay? And a value stream, you can think of it as the combination of your value creation process and the value delivery process. And typically, they flow one right into the other. Okay? So you create the value, and then that value is ready, and then it may be stored for a while, or at some point, it's delivered to the final customer.
Okay.
And the more you understand how your value stream works, what that entire chain looks like.
And making it easy, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the more you understand it, the better you're able to diagram it and look at all of the steps that go into it. The more you're able to deconstruct the process and look at what are all the different steps? Do all the different steps need to be there?
Right.
How do the processes flow into each other? And how can we make it better?
Okay, makes sense.
And so, it's if you think of this is actually one of the most famous production systems of all time. And
the P&G one is?
No.
What you're about to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the most famous production systems of all time is what's called the Toyota production system.
Oh, right.
And Toyota was actually one of the first companies to take this value stream approach of looking at value creation and value delivery as two processes that come right after each other. And say, okay, let's treat this as one big system. How do we improve this thing? And one of the absolutely mind-blowing statistics from this production system is Toyota makes over 1 million changes, teeny tiny changes, to this system every single year.
Whoa.
And they've been doing it for decades.
Wow.
And we'll talk about in systems about the power of removing things like friction, extra steps or things that don't need to be there.
Right.
But making all of these very small incremental improvements to their value chain, they've taken out, or their value stream, they've taken out all of these unnecessary things. And so the process of actually creating the car and delivering the car is absolutely as efficient as it possibly can be.
So it's kind of the iteration stuff we were talking about, but just applying it to the value stream instead.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if you're able to, and the thing to do about this is diagram out what your value stream looks like. You know, understand the process, understand the steps. And the more you're able to diagram or visualize how this whole thing works, the more you'll be able to look at the system and say, we can improve this, this is not necessary, we can move this here.
Right.
You can change all sorts of things around. And the goal that you're looking for is make your value stream as small and efficient as you possibly can.
Sure.
So, you know, as few steps as you can make it, as little time, as little effort, as little energy, as little money as you can make it to deliver the product, the more efficiently you'll be able to move from value creation into value delivery, and the better and more happy customers you'll be able to serve.
So it's just a really simplistic drawing that you do, right?
Exactly. It's just a diagram, a flow chart.
Okay.
You know, we do this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this.
Okay.
And, you know, by looking at it, and we'll talk about in the human mind section, we're designed to respond to things that are outside of ourselves.
Right. Okay? That's why it helps so much to write things down. I guess It's the same thing.
So write it down or diagram it. Whatever helps you visualize how the whole value stream works.
And just getting it out of your head?
Yes.
Okay.
And then analyze it and try to make it as small and efficient as possible.
Great.